I thought Look Back was a masterpiece of a one shot. I loved every aspect of it, and I just didn't expect Tatsuki Fujimoto to write anything that's better or even the level as Look Back gave me. But today, he just proved me wrong. Shonen Jump recently released his new one shot chapter, Goodbye Eri, a series about femme fatale. I, to be honest, I was just so curious and excited to read it because I just loved Look Back so much. So just thinking about him making another one shot just really burst me with joy. This series explored a retrospective of a boy living his life and how he witnessed pain and loss and how he used that to make a movie. Opening to the first couple of pages, it showed us the protagonist, Yuta, and him capturing his family. We're looking at this from Yuta's new phone's point of view, as it's his birthday and he just got that from his parents. He was filming his mother. She was addressing about how she was direct about her dying from her illness, and her final wish was for him to capture the final days of her life. So we go through this montage of panels as we see Yuta recording his mother and just like family moments. We're just watching his life as how he saw his mother living her life, especially slowly crumbling to the floor and then to her deathbed. It's just hard to think about what Yuta must be thinking about, especially feeling as we're seeing his mother through the camera's point of view, while we're also seeing how the father is also struggling and crying in secret to be strong. As it just keeps going, we just see her in the hospital. Then the moment after, we see that she's slowly climbing to her final moments. And Yuta ran away from that moment because he was scared. It left a sad impression, but it soon changes into a big plot twist as we see the hospital exploding, which shows a double page spread of apparently students from a school watching that explosion. So that means Yuta basically used all of the footage he had of his mother and made it into a documented style movie, which ended with a bang. Of course, no pun intended. Everyone was disgusted by that ending, especially his own father, and for the reason why he used that explosion in the first place was it was awesome. We see people hating the movie, which led to Yuta making his final recording of him committing suicide. This moment hit me, and that's because he used the phrase memento mori, which means we are mortal, we can die, which is one of my most favorite phrases to think about in life. He then videos himself running to the hospital roof to jump until he was questioned by her. She was just standing there with a cold stare telling him not to jump. Well, not from this hospital, another. She recognized who he was and led him to an abandoned building, watching movies from an old projector. She planned to watch 5 movies with him. As she can tell from his movie, Yuta doesn't know a single thing about movies at all, as he barely seen any movie at all. Even though she listed the flaws she's seen in that movie, she thought it was awesome. She was the only one crying from it. She was like the only person to enjoy what Yuta did, but she also found it fairly frustrated as well, and that's why she wanted to help Yuta make a better movie. So they team up to create something better, something that will make everyone cry. They shook hands, and the girl revealed her name, which was Eri. We go back to watching another video of Yuta saying that life has hope and he wants to live, which is a contrast to his last video. Now he just plans to make another movie while having Eri to guide him on learning what makes a good movie from other movies. It continues to create a montage of them living their school lives, watching movies every day, and then Eri giving her feedback about his analysis on movies that leads to him finally writing the plot to the movie. It has been established that after what they've done together, they're close friends, and Eri only wants to see Yuta's movie because she's in love with him. Or as she put it, I'm in love with your movies. She kept disapproving his plot ideas over and over, and he uses the same ideas the one he did with his mother. Then we enter a dinner scene which shows how Yuta's dad sees him, which is how he has a pinch of fantasy, especially when it comes to his movies. Yuta then uses the footages he had where he was gonna jump off the roof, but he adds a twist where he meets a vampire girl who lures him to watch movies, which is basically Eri. While discussing that idea with Eri, he invited her for dinner with his father, which had like this awkward atmosphere. Then him speaking about how much Yuta is improving with Eri around, but he wants her to leave him as this movie could damage him even worse. And he wants the best for his family. Honestly, like, this scene was really powerful, especially when he said he wants her to get out of his life. And then Eri said cut, and it was a bit all along. Honestly, I just thought this was really funny. It felt so real. It even managed to crack me up. I just had a good laugh. Okay, just to quickly talk about what I think about this chapter so far. I thought this chapter was already a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It just felt so deep, and honestly, I was just not ready to carry on and see what happens next. Okay, back to the chapter. It transitioned to them enjoying their time on the beach, which led Eri to collapse by the sea. We then see her sitting in the hospital bed watching Yuta taking a shit while she just found that funny. It was all jokes and games until she mentioned that she was sick and she was gonna die. So she asked Yuta to capture every moment until her death, just like her mother did. He refused to do it at first, and he just continued living his life, ignoring that idea, while his father came up to him to show him something. So Yuta didn't record his mother's final moments, so the dad had to do it, and what that video showed us, it just changed everything we saw about her. She was first viewed as a caring, loving mother finding her last moments with her family. But the truth was, she thought Yuta was useless. We then see other moments where this mother was cold to Yuta, directing him harshly on making the video. It was revealed she was a TV producer and she just wanted to make a documentary on her fight against her illness. She abused Yuta, and that was the true version we didn't get to see at the beginning, as Yuta made a movie capturing the beautiful mother Yuta envisioned her to be. He then goes back to Eri after talking about it with her father and agrees to capture her final moments of her life. Her life is captured to be happy, going on dates with Yuta, having fun traveling, eating and all that, to the point she's slowly dying and she's on her deathbed. Her final moments were recorded and we ended up where we started. Students watching Eri living her life to the end. This time, it did make them cry, which is what she wanted and achieved. Later on, Yuta met with another girl who used to be Eri's friend. They were talking about a completely different Eri than we saw on the big screen. She didn't wear glasses, nor had a retainer, and apparently Eri and Yuta never actually dated. The Eri they knew was a pretty big bitch who was just self-absorbed, to the point it ends up thanking Yuta for capturing the way she wants to remember Eri as her final days, and then we just enter complete darkness. Until we see a speech bubble from Yuta. He talks about what happens after making that movie, and him living the rest of his life, going to college, getting a job, having family, or so we thought. He made one more video as a grown man, talking about how he lost his family, and now he wants to die again. He then goes back to the place where it holds memories, the abandoned building, and as he entered the room, he saw her again. She looked exactly the same as she used to be, whether she was the dream or an illusion. The movie he made was her about being a vampire, but it turns out she was really a vampire all along, as she lived and breathes while looking the exact same. Eri died in the mind, but the real her is living, and as a vampire, who revived and forgot everything about the past. The old Eri left her a note about the memories she made with Yuta and the movie she left. She will continue living as she has those two things next to her, as she will always remember Yuta. After that discussion, he left the room with hope, and Eri saying it's missing a little pinch of fantasy. So to conclude that chapter, it ended with an actual bang. Goodbye Eri is a chapter about loss and emotions, but it's also a symbol about surrealism. Is it real? Was it full of lies? Did the characters we see existed? And just so many questions flowing through your brain. Tatsuki Fujimoto just done it again. He broke me and made another masterpiece. Even though it wouldn't be as artistic as Chainsaw Man or Fire Punch, his style left us with a deep impression, especially using the characters' retrospective in their point of view. Now, this manga was stated to be about femme fatale, which is a woman who lures men by their charms and mystery. We can clearly see that in Eri. She lured him by having this glimmering charm of making another movie, leading him to spend the rest of his school days with her. But it feels like there was some sort of mystery about her, and at the end, she's apparently a vampire. Fujimoto made this chapter around that, but also add some other thriller-like elements to create something amazing, which leads to this question: what was this chapter about? Or to be specific, what message did it leave? I've already seen some people express their views, especially around Eri's death. A part of me thinks Eri never existed to begin with. Well, the Eri we saw in the recordings. I imagine her as Yuta's conscious in the younger form of his mother. A conscious to help him not die, but live. As soon as we saw how Yuta now has a purpose to live, and he's living more positive, that's when the Eri he remembered disappeared. Which is why I thought she returned at the end, to save Yuta from dying again, which she did. It could be real or not. This was just my perspective of who Eri is. It could have been all one big movie, and we just didn't know. It left us with an experimental way to think about this series, like Look Back did. Or hell, even series like Evangelion. But yeah, story short, Fujimoto broke me again. Another 10 out of 10 one-shot chapter. Thank you for watching this video, I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this content, leave a like, subscribe, and if you want to have discussions about it, I got a Discord link down there, we can talk about it there. And subscribe me on other platforms like Twitter, Twitch, and all that. Thank you all for watching, and sayonara.